Did you become a yacht designer?
Well, that all came about from my interest in aesthetics and from working on different vessels and coming to ideas and opinions about what would work good on vessels and the best sort of design for looking after guests and safe navigation. In 2001 I had an unfortunate accident on a boat and lost an eye, and during that convalescence period I decided to teach myself how to use CAD software and started drawing general arrangement plans and profiles, and then continued on using 3D software, Rhino 3D, to make realistic renderings of the concepts that I was doing. And this was very helpful for owners when they're considering building or converting a vessel, to get that first visualization of what their idea is and what their objectives are in the design of the boat that they're looking to build or convert. Well, obviously the yacht industry, a lot of it's about aesthetics, nice compound curves, nice glassed areas, things like that. Some of it is good, some of it, is only useful in a benign environment, good weather, good sunshine. The vessels I prefer to design are more hardy for long distance voyages and operating in areas like the Arctic or the Antarctic. A more robust design, more user friendly. Though of course I can appreciate the aesthetic of some of these beautifully designed yachts with lots of compound curves and stainless steel and glass. It depends on the owner's requirement and operational parameters. The basic profile would usually have large deck area for carrying large tenders, or large garages underneath, enclosed areas for housing the tenders. A bridge that has good visibility I think is extremely important. I prefer the bridge to be high. Lots of glass, enclosed bridge wings, and the ability to navigate without any obstruction from that area. That's inherently important aspect of driving a boat. Of course you need lots of volume for owners areas and guests areas. The vessel obviously constructed out of steel, the hull, the superstructure could be alloys or carbons even, composites. You need good boarding arrangements for tenders. That's really, really important. I see a lot of boats where it's difficult to get on and on the tenders for guests, particularly elderly guests. I think in this day and age, when there's a lot of concerns about environmental conditions and that, refurbishing, converting existing vessels instead of starting from scratch in a new build is something that will probably be embraced a little bit more. And of course there's still a time frame and cost to do that, but I think it's cut in half because the hull is already existing and most of the machinery you'll be able to use as well in the conversion, and using materials that are environmentally friendly instead of using real wood on the teak decks and handrails. You can use composites and things like that instead. I've been working at sea for the best part of 38 years now. I started my career on commercial deep sea fishing vessels, mainly deep sea trawling, but also I've done some purseining, long line and trapping as well. After that I did some time on some offshore tugs, small cargo vessels and liveaboard dive boats. Then I ended up on yachts, and I followed the engineering route at first. I was always interested in the engine room. I made sure I knew how the boats worked, and I went and got an Australian marine engineering ticket and worked as chief engineer on some of the deep sea trawlers before moving up to the bridge. Now I've been working on yachts for over 20 years, different parts of the globe. Mainly been involved in what's termed explorer style or expedition style yachts. I've done some new building in Louisiana and Northern Europe on 60 to 70 metre explorer style boats. I've been up in the Arctic to Greenland a few times, and Antarctica as well on charter vessels, working within the yacht industry in ice classed hulls and working in more remote locations. I spent 8 years on a 64 metre yacht called the Turmoil, and we cruised around the world multiple times on that boat, anywhere between Patagonia, the Orinoco River, the Black Sea, Japan, the Arctic, Greenland, and that kept us busy. We used to do over 30,000 nautical miles a year on that vessel. Other vessels I've worked on are Nansen Explorer up in Greenland, Enigma XK down in Antarctica, the Pacific, the Atlantic, the Black Sea, the Baltic, the Mediterranean, pretty well all over.
So tell me what you do in your spare time.
So in my spare time I like to do endurance sports, mainly long distance ultra running, races of 100 miles or more across places like Death Valley. I pulled a sled 1,000 miles across Alaska on the Iditarod Trail, and in between that I like to climb big mountains. I've summited Everest and Denali, Kagwa in Argentina, and a whole bunch of other Himalayan peaks and large mountains around the world, so that's how I keep occupied.
And that's stress release.
Definitely stress relief. People can't understand it, but I say you should go out and try run 100 miles and see how you feel at the end of it. You can't think of anything except going to sleep.